Hello, I'm Irene and welcome to our series on openEuler tutorials, OECA courses. In this episode, I'm going to talk about log files of an operating system and log management services, rsyslog and log rotate. OS logs provide crucial insights into OS behaviors. Well-maintained logs enable quick fault detection, security analysis, and system stability monitoring. Let's explore some of the most commonly encountered log files. DMESG logs details created by kernel detection at startup. You can run the DMESG command to see these logs. The WTMP and fail log files store login details, one for successful logins and another for failed attempts. BTMP stores login errors in a binary log file. To access this data, use the LASTB command instead of cat. UTMP stores details of the currently logged in user. To access this information, use the who or users commands instead of cat. LastLog stores details of each account's most recent login. The LastLog command retrieves and shows this data. Secure logs all actions needing a username and a password, whether they were entered correctly or not. The messages log is crucial. It records almost all error and important information from the system. Cron records details about cron tab tasks, like run settings or changes made to them. The mail logs record mail information from the postfix mail server by default. In Linux, these system logs are primarily managed by the rsyslog service. rsyslog, short for Rocket Fast System Logging, offers high performance, robust security, and a modular design. It can accept input from various sources and send outputs to diverse destinations, capable of processing over 1 million messages per second to a target file. The rsyslog supports multi-threaded input and output, ensuring efficient handling of high-volume log data. It accommodates various transmission protocols such as UDP, TCP, RELP, SSL, and TLS, providing flexibility and reliability in data transfer. For secure communication, encryption protocols like SSL, TLS, and RELP are utilized. The rsyslog also offers advanced filtering capabilities, allowing users to isolate and manage specific parts of log information. Additionally, users can define custom output formats to suit their needs, and the logs can be seamlessly written into database for further analysis and storage. rsyslog provides several methods for filter syslog messages based on specific properties such as facility and severity. A facility represented by one of the following keywords generates logs and classifies log collection by function and program. For example, the OST subsystem handles all PAM authentication-related syslog messages, and a mail subsystem handles all mail-related syslog messages. Severity indicates the severity level of a log and can be represented by a numerical code from 0 to 7. 0 indicates the emergency information that may cause the system to be unavailable, while 7 indicates the program or system debugging information. In addition to the keywords specified above, you can also use an asterisk to define all facilities or severities. The rsyslog message flow consists of several sequential stages through which log messages are processed. First, messages enter the input module, which is responsible for receiving data from various sources such as journals, files, local sockets, and TCP/UDP ports. These messages are then passed to the pre-processing module, where initial formatting, parsing, or enrichment operations may occur. After pre-processing, the messages are placed into the main message queue, which serves as a buffer to manage flow and ensure orderly processing. From there, messages proceed to the filtering module. The filter reads the rules set in the rsyslog.conf configuration file, compares the rules with the content in the log, and sends the log to the corresponding action queue. Once a log enters the action queue, it is deleted from the main message queue. After logs enter the action queue, the action processor obtains the logs that first enter the queue from the action queue for processing. Finally, the reached output module, which handles the actual forwarding or storing of messages to destinations such as local files, databases, or remote servers. Logs are processed by rsyslog through two queues: main message queue, the action queue. Queues are used for acceleration and reliability. rsyslog reads log messages and catches them in the main message queue. The filter then sends these messages to the action queue that matches the rule. Each rule has its own action queue. Finally, the action processor sends the messages to their destination. Here's how you can install and configure it on your server. First, open up the rsyslog.conf file and make some changes. Next, set up the configurations so that your server can receive client logs using either TCP or UDP on port 514. Just keep in mind that TCP is required if you are planning to use TLS. Here's what you need to add. Content for TCP and UDP varies. After that, go back to the rsyslog.conf file and specify where you want the client logs to be stored. Once everything is configured, restart the rsyslog service by running this command. Finally, double-check to ensure the server is working properly. The command for checking varies depending on UDP or TCP. If the following output is shown, the configuration is successful. Here is a step-by-step guide to installing and configuring the setup on your client. First, edit the rsyslog.conf file. Next, set up the client to forward all its logs to the rsyslog service on the remote server using TCP. Specifically, direct all logs from the local server to port 514 at the IP address 8.4.186.48. The remote server will then categorize these logs into separate files according to predefined facility rules by adding this line to the configuration. After making these changes, restart the rsyslog service with the command. To verify that messages are being logged correctly, use the following command to create a test log entry. Finally, access the remote server and inspect the message files to confirm that the test message has been recorded successfully. As your system runs, log files continuously grow and can quickly consume valuable drive space. This stops new logs from being saved and can interrupt the system services, causing process errors or blocking certain operations. If a fault occurs, the system's ability to find it may suffer or fail entirely due to missing logs. In Linux, the log rotate service deletes or compresses old files and creates new log files. The following is an example for your reference. Maxage 365. At the current system time, only log files generated in the last 365 days are stored. Log files that have been stored for more than 365 days are deleted. Rotate 30 indicates the number of times that a log file is split before it is deleted. A maximum of 30 backups are retained. Not if empty. If the log is empty, no processing is performed. Compress. Dumped logs are compressed using gzip. Copy truncate. Backs up the truncates a log file that is being opened. Missing OK. If a log file is lost, no error is reported. and the system proceeds to the next step. Size plus 4096K indicates that a log file is split only when its size exceeds 4096 kilobytes. The default unit of size is kilobytes. You can use K, M, and G to specify the unit. That means kilobytes, megabytes, or gigabytes. Well, this concludes today's course. We hope you found it enlightening and gained a deeper understanding of operating system logs and their management. Feel free to join our community discussions and remember to follow us on our socials. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next course.